Hello, viewers. My name is Andrew Nyamayaro. I'm a solicitor at Tanlo Solicitors, and today I just want to do a session with yourselves, answering to the questions that you might have pertaining to immigration law in the United Kingdom. So, if you have got any questions relating to immigration in the United Kingdom, just put your question in the comments section, and then I'll pick on the question, and then I'll give you the response to the best of my ability. So just want to give you time to type in your questions, and while I wait for more questions to come in, I just want to give one of the positive news that has come from the Home Office of late concerning young people that have been born in the United Kingdom, or that have come to the United Kingdom while they were young and have spent a large proportion of their lives in the United Kingdom. The new guidance that has come out is that instead of them to wait 10 years to get indefinite leave to remain, they may qualify for indefinite leave to remain after 5 years. So that is quite welcome news from the Home Office. People that have been young people that have been in the United Kingdom for a long time, either born here or they came at a young age, and have maybe predominantly spent a large chunk of their life in the United Kingdom, for, half of their life or more, then they could potentially qualify for this new route under the guidance and the law. And also, just general advice to people who work in the care sector, who are carers and support workers. Tomorrow is the deadline if you are to continue to work as a carer or a support worker. Tomorrow is the deadline for you to have been jabbed or to have received your COVID-19 vaccination, the two doses that you're required to have. If you have not and you are not exempted, you might have received or you are receiving a letter from your employer that you might be suspended from work or employment terminated. Or if you work as an agency worker, you will just see that you will no longer be getting or receiving any shifts at all. I've received calls from some people who have been skipped from their usual duties because they have not received their jobs, and tomorrow being the deadline. For those people that work in the NHS, I think the deadline has been announced by the government to be April of next year. So I think it's coming up even for those who are in the NHS. Um, if you have not received your vaccination and your double jabs, you are likely then to face termination of your employment or suspension from employment, or you will not be able to get any shifts. And then whether or not you want to challenge it as a human rights thing or as a legal challenge in the court is one is another point to discuss another day. But as it stands, you face that risk. I've got a question that is in the chat that I would want then to respond to. You can continue typing your questions in the chat and then I will respond to them as much as I can. So the question is it true that if I study and do my PhD, the Home Office will allow me to bring my child on a visa who is above 18 years? Ordinarily, a child is allowed to come into the country if they are under 18 years. If they're over 18 years, normally they do not qualify under the definition of a child. They can only qualify under the definition of a child if you can then prove that they are still dependent on you, and that they are not living an independent life of their own. So under normal circumstances, no, they will not be able to come, but under exceptions, then they might be able to come if you can be able to satisfy the Home Office that there is still some dependency of that adult child on yourself. The next question is about truck drivers and can I get a trucking job? So, as you would know, for quite a few weeks now, this issue of truck drivers has been on the lips of so many people. The United Kingdom is facing a shortage of truck drivers for different types of trucks. And as far as I know, and according to my research, the truck drivers that have been allowed to come under this route through, I think, four agencies that have been mentioned by the Home Office are drivers that are specializing in the carriage of fuel, and I think certain vans, not general truck drivers. But it's something that is developing. The Home Office said that they will issue out permits for, initially they'd said up to December. I think they've extended it up until February. I think the short-term visas that they will issue out to truck drivers, to seasonal workers in the agricultural sector, and to poultry workers in the who might work on farms, and I think to butchers as well. If you're a certain type of butchers as well, um, they can also come to the United Kingdom. So truck drivers, I think, continue checking my WhatsApp status and continue checking our YouTube channel. I put updates on there, but at the moment, those ones who have been specifically mentioned are those ones who drive we have got experience or qualification to drive fuel truckers, and the trucks, I think, for certain types of foods. That those ones have been specifically um, been mentioned. The rest is still a developing scenario, and hopefully we'll get more information from the government as we continue. Is civil engineering a critical skill in the United Kingdom? Um, Most engineering jobs will be on the skills list. I do not have it here. I can check it later on. If you can send me an email, I can respond to that specifically for civil engineering if it is on the shortage list or on the skills list, and what SOC code it will be. But off my head, I believe it is, and you can get employment through that. So send me an email at the person who is asking about civil engineering specifically. Can I bring my mother to join me under my stay, who is elderly and no one to look after back home? So if you want to bring an adult dependent relative, there's a possibility that you can be able to bring an adult dependent relative. And again, that depends on the status that you have. If you've got limited leave to remain, you may not be able to bring an adult dependent relative. You might be able to maybe invite them on a visit as visa 6 months to come and visit you, and then they go back. If you are settled in the United Kingdom and you have got or you have got British citizenship or EU settled status, you can be able to bring your parents or your elderly mother to come and stay with you. This is a very demanding category of a visa, and the success rate of adult dependent relative is very low. The test of that visa is that adult dependent is struggling with personal care. They cannot do personal care on their own without assistance, or they cannot take personal care of themselves. So if anyone does not necessarily meet that criteria or threshold, then they might not be successful. I am aware of a current case involving an Asian family. I think the sponsor was an Asian doctor who invited his mother, who was refused, and went to court and was successful without necessarily meeting the stringent test that has been put by the Home Office. So to prove that your mother is struggling or your father is struggling, your other dependent is struggling, you might need to produce a lot of medical information, medical reports. Depending on the nature of the problem that they have, and the list of the medication that they take, the cost of the medication that they are taking. maybe a country expert report on the medical situation of the country that you are coming from, and your income. You should be able to be earning enough income as well for them to be able to come and visit you. So it is quite possible, but it's a stringent requirement. It's a stringent visa for the adult dependent relative. And you have to show that there's sufficient accommodation as well. So the information which I've said, like I've said, will involve showing the seriousness of the medical problems and how expensive or unaffordable is the medication, and also the inhumane conditions under which that person is living under. Okay. So the next question is any ideas, please, of the backlog? Because my wife submitted her papers in February, until now, no response. So the Home Office is experiencing um, serious backlogs in various departments. Some departments are performing well, some departments are picking up, but the majority are experiencing um, a backlog. And the Home Office, to the best of my knowledge as well, you've actually removed the 6 months deadline that they've put because of the problems that they're experiencing. And if you send a reminder letter, they will just still send you a standard letter to say they are aware of your case. It's a complicated case, and so they're looking at it. And because of COVID-19, um, they are running behind their schedule. So um, there is quite a big backlog with the Home Office. Cases that used to take about 3 months are now taking 6 months. Those were taking 6 months are taking 12 months. And those who have claimed asylum are now waiting for about a year or two before they can get their main interview and to submit. In fact, for those who have claimed asylum, they used to be phoned back by the Home Office within 4 days of registering their claim, but now they are waiting up to about 8 weeks before the Home Office can call them back. And if you miss the call, then you might have to wait another 8 weeks for them to reattempt to call you back. The main challenge is that if you are caught up in the backlog, you just have to wait in the backlog. There's nothing much you can do. Alternatively, you have to make a new application, pay a new fee, submit the new application, and then withdraw the old application. So you'd have paid the fee for the Home Office two times twice for a certain period, maybe a day or two, and before you withdraw the old application. In the past, they used to have a facility whereby you could pay an additional fee to the Home Office, even if you've got a pending application, and then they would fast track your application and make a decision. But at the moment, that is not there. I don't know why they removed it, and I think it's unfair that it has been removed. So you cannot fast track an existing application. You can just fast track a new application when you make the application. When you make the application, and then you pay the 600 or 800 pounds for the priority when you submit it. You can do that if the application is being done locally in the United Kingdom, or if the application is being done abroad outside the country. So it's a choice that you have to make, either withdraw, submit a new one, withdraw the old one if you cannot wait. But there is a big backlog from the Home Office. What are the procedures needed as a driver to come to the United Kingdom? Um, as it stands, like I've explained, they have mentioned a specific category of drivers. Although they want HVG drivers to come to the United Kingdom, they haven't put out a policy for what exactly they expect for every HVG driver. They've specified for those who drive fuel truckers, and I think certain types of food stuff that they've mentioned. For the rest, it's still something I think they've not mentioned out, and it's something that is on what I can say, let's wait and see. But if you have got your license, and if your license is an international license, I'm not so sure if they will require you to have the English test, but I think the police clearance might be mandatory. So if you look at those things, and again, if you check our WhatsApp status, and our YouTube channel will be updating you as this development takes place about HVG drivers, because on a daily basis I get asked by HVG drivers about coming to the United Kingdom as an HVG driver. I know that some people are claiming to be able to bring HVG drivers at the moment, and all I can say is just to be careful, otherwise you might be scammed of your hard-earned cash. Okay. How many dependents are allowed on a visa? Um, there is no limit on the dependents that are allowed on a visa. But what might be limited is the type of dependence that you might come, or that you might come with or bring to the United Kingdom. So, if you have got, for example, 15 children, their children, you can come bring them as your dependents. So there's no number to limit the number of dependents. Um, but if for certain things, for example, you can only bring one spouse. You cannot bring two spouses. So even if you're in a polygamous relationship, you cannot bring your other wives, or if you've got more than one husband, you cannot bring your other husbands. You can only bring one spouse, and you can also maybe under the EU, or what is the EUSS, which is now part of the immigration rules anyway. You can bring your parents, your dependents that were dependent on your household. So your parents, it could be your siblings, or it could be your children. Nephews and cousins are limited. I understand that there's been a recent concession by the UK since Brexit happened, but this is a recent concession, I think this week or last week, whereby they have to consider non-European family members of an EU family that were dependent on them, but not necessarily living in their household. So those people can also come in as well. So it depends with the type of visa that you hold as well, but there is no limit as to how many you can bring. As long as they fill the bill of a dependent in the category that you have, then you can be able to bring them under the immigration rules. Is it possible to bring my family on the first encounter if I get a job there? So my understanding of your question is that maybe you've got a job. At the moment, most people are coming as or are making applications or attempting to come as auxiliary nurses, carers, support workers, or if you are coming on any work-related visa. So it's possible to come with your family when you make your application. So normally you will make your application as the main applicant. Your employer has accepted you. You have done the job interview. They've checked your qualifications. They are happy with you, and they've generated the sponsor certificate for you, and you've made your application. You can either wait for the application to come to an end, and then you make an application for your dependents, or you can make an application for your dependents before your decision is made, and you make reference to your GWF number that you'd have been given by the Home Office. So it's possible to bring your children to the United Kingdom, or your family when you're coming or after you've come. So it doesn't have to say, oh, you have to wait 3 months or 4 months before you can bring them, if I understand your question, which is based on a work-related visa. I want to go to the United Kingdom, but I don't know anyone there. What can I do? That is quite a general question because what are you coming for? Are you coming to study, to work, to visit, to perform as an artist, to uh, do sports, or what are you coming for? So it depends on what you are coming for to the United Kingdom. Then that will determine the requirements of the particular visa that you want to. So you have to specify what you want to come to the United Kingdom for. If you don't know anyone else, maybe unless if you're just coming for a visitor's visa, and there are various types of visitors visa. You can come on a tourist visa. You want to visit the Henge, you want to see the Queen, Buckingham Palace, or you want to come and watch football, Manchester United, as much as it is playing these days, or you want to visit the scenes in Wales and so forth. So you can come on a tourist visa, you can come on a business visa. You are coming for an exhibition, if you're invited by a business company and so forth. If you're coming for a short-term study, you can come on, or even a long-term study. You can also come on to seek medical attention. There is a private medical visa that you can be given as long as the medical uh, team here is confirmed that they are going to attend to you. You meet all the requirements. You've got the income that they require. Then you can come on that. So it just depends really on what you are coming to the United Kingdom for, and the requirements will meet on that. Okay. So if you have got any question that you want to ask in terms of immigration to the United Kingdom, this is your opportunity to ask me. Alternatively, you can contact me on the WhatsApp message, or send us an email, um, so that we can be able to respond to you. We have got a YouTube channel where I download all of the videos that we do, and most of the videos will have answers to the questions that people um, are asking about, or some people have asked it in the past, as they have done several presentations before. It seems like I don't have any further questions from the viewers. So, on that note, I can then come to the conclusion of this session, and I will hope to meet you again at some point in the future. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you.